Welcome to Rough Realities and Revelations.
Hello.
So it's going to sound different for you listening on Spotify, and it's going to look different for you watching it on YouTube because it's Christmas, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we're having to do a video call because to be honest, I'm actually surprised you're alert because a groomer at Christmas time is awful. It's absolutely awful.
Yeah.
I remember when I stopped grooming, my first Christmas, I loved it. There was no last minute panicky people
Yeah. No,
going,
it's
"I
been
need
so
it on
busy.
Christmas Eve."
Yeah, it's
Do
been
you
so
know?
busy. So
Yeah.
yeah. So today
So,
I'm just refusing to leave the house.
yep, quite right.
Yeah.
Traffic. You're finally actually at home, and
Yeah.
and you're not having to bath and dry dogs and cut hair.
Yes.
So, hence why we're doing it this way for a change.
Absolutely.
Ooh, it's exciting, isn't it? Isn't it? So, because it is Christmas.
Uh-huh.
It's not my favourite time.
Christmas.
I know. You're looking lovely and festive though. You're looking good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that jumper. Actually, that's probably about as festive as I would get. I like that one because it's got a bit of sweary on it. Yeah, I quite like that jumper. But I've been having numerous conversations, because you might have had the same,
Yeah.
but numerous conversations around Christmas and dogs.
Yeah.
They're not always the best mix, eh?
No. No, no. I mean,
But
it can be a stressful, busy time, like for people, never mind dogs. So
yeah, no, absolutely. Like, my conversations have been surrounding how do we have like the humans' usual idea of Christmas when they've got mostly young dogs. People, when the dogs age, things do get a little bit easier. They're not trying to chew baubles and pull
yeah,
tinsel off the tree.
I think you've
And
got your routine more like set as well as your dog is old.
yeah, that's true actually. See, I'm totally by humbug. Like, I put nothing up. Like, there'll be a token. There's a token tiny tree hidden, so John can have a bit of the festive cheer, but
Yeah,
it's small enough that I don't notice it.
right.
And yeah, grumpy non-Christmas person doesn't have to be all like, ugh. So I don't have to worry about this. But yeah, I think I've been talking a lot about things to do to protect trees, and protect decorations from young dogs who go, "Oh, that looks interesting."
Yeah.
So I have, a lot of making use of puppy pens
Mhm.
around trees. That helps loads. And possibly going for smaller trees than normal, trees that you can maybe put on a table.
Yeah.
So again, you've elevated it a little bit, so it's kind
Mhm.
of out of dog height,
Mhm.
and things. There's a few. People have shared pictures, and it's brilliant. There's a few trees that are very bare along the bottom. The decorations didn't stretch that far, and they're
Yeah.
decorated from like 3/4 of the way up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's a good idea because dogs don't know. Dogs don't know that if they chew these things, it's going to get stuck,
Yeah.
and it's going to be a bit of a disaster. Um, what else have I been talking to people about? Oh, the dangers around a lot of the festive foods we have this
Yeah.
time of year.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So remind us what the dangerous foods are again. So are
well,
your
I think,
ones like chocolate, obviously. You
well, I was
know,
going to say,
when I was a kid, you used to get chocolate tree decorations.
yeah,
They were
mhm,
like wrapped in foil, and you would hang them on the tree. I don't think they're a thing anymore, but
I don't think they are. I used to enjoy them because they're this weird, nasty chocolate,
uh-huh.
but it's quite tasty.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's quite bitter, but
Yeah.
I don't know, it just makes you think of Christmas because it's like sort of bitter, nasty chocolate. But yeah, no, I don't think that's the thing. But yes, I think universally, a lot of us are now good about knowing chocolate's bad news for dogs.
Do you know,
And
I think it's worth asking people if they're giving you like a present to put under the tree, like for your kids or whatever, saying, "Oh, is there anything in there that the dog shouldn't have?"
oh, that's good.
Um, because then if there is, you can put that parcel like away.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
no, that's very good thinking. Yeah,
Yeah,
that is good. This is, see, I don't think of these things because I don't, we, because our tree's so small, what would we put under it?
yeah,
Nothing, nothing.
yeah. We've got chocolate, and then what's next on the hit list of dangerous
Oh,
foods?
the major hit list is our family of grapes, raisins, sultanas.
Yeah,
Basically, thinking about Christmas cake and mince pies and
mince
stuff.
pies, Christmas pudding, stollen, all of those things are highly dangerous if your dog gets them.
Yeah, I don't like stollen. I tried that once. That was horrible. It's marzipan, isn't it? Is it
Marzipan,
marzipan? Yeah.
yes,
Oh,
marzipan.
yeah. I was really disappointed. Somebody only uttered the word marzipan as I put it in my mouth, and I was like, oh,
Mhm.
whoa, oh no, like, and it's that awkward. Do you spit it out or do you just carry on
Yeah.
and just eat it? So,
So I think some nuts as well, right? Some nuts, and then
yeah,
people have
macadamia nuts.
macadamia nuts. But then people sometimes have bowls of like nuts still in their shells at Christmas. Oh well, they did in the
Mhm.
80s anyway. I don't know if they still do. But
I think it's come back.
yeah, so like Brazil nuts, walnuts, and stuff still in their shells, so they could potentially be like a choking hazard, a blockage hazard for your dog if your
Yeah,
dog went
they're
into.
not good. Avocado's not good.
I don't know that that's
Onion.
particularly festive though. Avocado, is it? Do people have Christmas avocado?
I don't know. It just sprung to mind just now.
Fine,
I
fine.
just thought we'll just add it to the list. Maybe people will want a healthier breakfast
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something, like because they've been eating a lot of junk food. I don't know. But yeah, onions,
Onions,
garlic stuff.
your gravy as well, which sometimes has onion in it, but then also is quite high, like in salt and stuff like that. So
Mm.
giving your dog a wee bit of gravy could actually be a bit dangerous. I've just thought as well with sweets like your Haribos and gummy bears and stuff like that, they're all highly toxic to dogs as well.
Are they?
They are, yeah.
This could be a new thing. I mean,
Got them,
mine would never go to waste. You see,
they've
nobody
got
would get near my Haribos.
they've got xylitol in them.
Oh yeah, so anything. So I don't know because you know me, I don't. I just read a headline, don't I? And
Yes.
I'll just skim something.
Yes.
But with the old xylitol front, that this is your. So if anyone's like, oh God, what tangent have they went on now? So xylitol's like a sweetener,
Yeah.
artificial sweetener thing,
Yeah.
and that is toxic to dogs. That will start to shut down the old organs. But they've started to rename it as birch sugar
Right.
to make it. So I don't. I mean, I I'll be honest. I haven't done my research properly, but I have seen various posts, and it does seem something that these types of companies would do to make it sound more natural.
Yeah.
Is to give it a name like birch sugar. So I think nowadays, if you're checking ingredients, look for the words xylitol and birch sugar, and if it's got either of those in it, if you think the dog has consumed anything, this would be a phone call to the vets.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I only know
Quickly.
that because, when Alma took ill that first time and we took her to the emergency vet, and the vet was saying, listing all the things could she have got? Could she have got rat poison? Could she have got chewing gum? Could she have got gummy bears? I was like, gummy bears? She's like, yeah, could she have got gummy bears?
Oh no,
Yeah.
no. Oh, that's a new one for me today. Um, and then the other things are because there's the alcohol. I mean, that's given that it's technically a poison for us, it's definitely a poison for them.
Yes.
But um, because we have alcohol, we tend to take a lot of painkillers. So our good old, things like ibuprofen, um, things like anodine, stuff like that. That's all bad news for a dog. And I think the problem with those things is it's not immediately obvious that the dog's ill.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is, by the time the dog looks lethargic, is throwing up, is not quite right, it's kind of a bit too late for them.
Hmm.
There's too much damage done to the organs. So really keep all that kind of stuff locked away and everything so the dogs can't get to it. And then then it's a case of making sure you know the signs, because it's not just the edible stuff. Oh, there's cooked bones. I forgot about that.
Cooked
Cooked
bones, and
bones.
also some plants that we have around the house at Christmas as well, like your foliage, your poinsettias. They're all toxic as well.
Yep, yep, they are. They are. And that's a shame. I hadn't realised that. My mum used to always have a poinsettia at Christmas.
Hmm.
But luckily it was like high up. It was always away. But yeah, I mean, you and I will forget about cooked bones because we're veggies.
Yeah.
We don't have them anymore. But cooked bones, like if the dogs have raided the bin and stuff like that, that can cause injuries in the way down, and they can get stuck and things. And then of course you've got the dogs chewing presents.
Well, that's the thing I was just going to say. You've also got like, Lego pieces, the final piece of your, 500 piece jigsaw that you've been working on.
All the
These are
packaging
packaging.
that comes with all these gifts nowadays.
Yeah.
The little plastic bits you've got to cut off, and dogs are terrible for going, oh, what's that?
Hmm.
Um, and down the hatch it goes. So I suppose it's being aware of how do you know your dog's in trouble? Like, because your eyes can't be everywhere. I mean, accidents happen all the time. It's such a stressful time of year. People are trying to, especially if they're the hosting house. I find they're always up to high dole because they've got to make sure everything's all ready. They've got to get everything in, and then they've got to work out how are we cooking everything, what are we doing, and invariably they'll be stressing about the people that come to their house that probably don't actually want them to come to their house.
Hmm.
And of course the dog will just kind of get not left, but they'll be left to their own devices a bit more often. And then dogs are sneaky,
Hmm.
they go away and chew stuff. So it's learning the signs of what do you, like, if you spot the signs, what do you do and what are the signs? So I think for me, the obvious ones are if you physically see them eating the chocolate. So say you've been baking, because cooking chocolate's pretty bad
Yeah.
out of all the chocolates and dark chocolate. So if you've been cooking away and you've reached for your chocolate ingredient and you're like, oh heck, where is that? My first check would be the dog. Um,
Hmm.
and then from there, I would genuinely be phoning the vet and saying, this is how much my dog weighs. This is what they've eaten.
Hmm.
Do I need to bring them in,
Yeah.
or are we okay? Because chocolate, certain amounts, isn't like fatal. However, if I've just watched them snaffle a bunch of mince pies,
Yeah.
or I saw a guest handing them mince pies,
Hmm.
then again, that's straight on the phone to the vet. I'm not even messing with that. I don't care if it's out of hours or not. Um, if you haven't seen them do this though, then you can act immediately. I think that's the difficult bit. And I think it's worth knowing the signs of like obstructions, for example. So if they've eaten something that's got stuck,
Yeah.
you're going to see potential vomiting.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll actually vomit.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're trying to vomit and nothing comes up.
Yeah.
Other times they could flip between either constipation or diarrhea. A lot of people think, oh, if you've got something stuck, you can't poop at all. But actually, a lot of times it's diarrhea
Hmm.
that's coming out. The dog tends to be quite restless, so they'll pace a lot. They do a lot of stretching, like that play bow pose,
Yeah.
licking of the lips, those kind of things. If my dog starts doing, well, in fact, one of mine did, Puppy Cash, when he was 3, he did all that, and I was like, ooh, he's my good boy. How can he get anything? And that turned out it was an obstruction,
Right.
and he had to get the operation and get it taken out. So yeah, I would be those types of things. I'd be straight on the phone to the vet, being like, I think they've got something,
Yeah.
and then take them in and get them checked. And then I think it's worth also prepping yourself for what is your vet's out of hours policy,
Hmm.
and finding out is where do you go, what phone number
Yeah.
do you contact, and then popping that somewhere prominent in the house,
Hmm.
not just on one person's phone.
Yeah.
Because if that person's out, then it's like a total nightmare. Stick it on your fridge, stick it, I don't know, on your front door or something, so that everybody knows where to look.
Yeah.
and then they can, at least they know who they're phoning, where they've to go, what happens. Make sure you plan your route, because a lot of vets nowadays, it's not in-house. You
Yeah.
know, it's often another facility that you've got to go to, where they'll be equally as well taken care of. But if you're already in a panic, having to go somewhere that you've not been before,
Mm-hmm.
that's like even worse.
Definitely.
You know?
Definitely. I think another thing to consider as well with all the coming and going is just making sure that your dog has their collar and tag on all the
Oh
time.
yes. Hmm.
Just, because doors might be left open and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
the easier it is to identify your dog, the quicker they're going to be reunited.
Oh, absolutely. Like, see, nowadays, the very slight tangent, there'll be a short one.
Hmm.
I was saying this to somebody the other day. Part of me loves the fact that there's a rise in dogs wearing harnesses that pull, right? So that we're protecting necks. But that seems to have gone hand in hand with nobody wears a collar anymore.
Yeah.
And then nobody puts a tag on.
Yeah.
So when you come across a lost dog that's maybe just says chased a rabbit and has now got themselves a bit disorientated, and you've happened to come across them, they've got nothing on them. They're naked. So there's nobody, you can't phone. Like, everybody goes out with a mobile phone. So it's so easy that if that dog had a tag on, excuse me, you could just phone and then
Yeah.
be like, oh, I'm through these sexy trees, blah, blah, blah. But no, they don't have the tags on. So then what happens is you have to try and fashion some sort of slip lead, get the dog, walk around the area to see if you can either hear somebody shouting, or
Hmm.
you speak to other people going, do you know, has anyone lost this dog? Blah, blah, blah. You do that for a bit, can't find the person. So then you've got to take the dog to a vet's or to a police station. Then they've got to be scanned. Then they've got to try and phone you. So all in all, what, 2, 3, sometimes 4 hours have passed?
Hmm.
And then you'll eventually get a phone call from somebody going, oh, by the way, I've got your dog.
Yeah.
When, see if you just had a tag on,
Yeah.
within half an hour, you'd have your dog back. You
Definitely.
know? And it's
Definitely.
just mind blowing. But anyway, we're not going to segue that much.
No.
But I think the other thing that a lot of people I've been speaking to are stressing about is visitors and the dog's
Hmm.
behaviour.
Yeah.
And I get that. I
Yeah. I
totally
mean,
get that.
I get quite anxious about people coming in, because Blue is obviously not comfortable around people he doesn't know, and making sure that people know like the rules around him. But I don't want to make the people feel like he's more important than them. Do you know what I mean? Because I've invited them to my house, but then I'm like, well, don't touch my dog, don't bend over to my dog,
I
don't
was going to say,
my dog, like don't
yeah, but deep down, he is more important than them.
keep your hands and keep your fingers in your pockets at all times. Don't.
I know people are like, I'm not going round to hers again. There's a big list of things to do.
Yeah.
But it's true though, and I think this is where you've got to look at it from all angles though, because in all fairness, especially for Blue, we want to change his opinion of people. Like, he's not got a great opinion of people he doesn't know. He's like, or sometimes he doesn't have a great opinion of people he does know.
Well, that's true.
Um, but but you are trying to boost his confidence
Hmm.
and let him know that actually this isn't the same anymore. So people do have to listen to what you're asking them to do, but also, truthfully, you don't want anyone to be bitten, because he would.
Hmm.
So nobody wants that over Christmas time.
No.
Um, so I think, yeah, I think it's valid. I think there's multi layers to it all, isn't it? As in, from your perspective, you've not had him that long, so he's still settling in. He already has an issue. So I sort of split dogs when it comes to visitors into two parties: those that want visitors and are quite sociable, and then
Yeah.
those that are like, nah, just, I don't know why you're interfering with my lovely life, you
Hmm.
know. And I think each, each type needs to have a different approach as to how have it less drama filled, depending on what the issue is. So I think when you've got a dog like Blue, who is like, I don't need friends, I
Hmm.
just don't want you around, I think it's important, one, to have a quiet area away from visitors that he can go
Mhm.
to, that he doesn't have to face anybody,
Yeah.
and nobody comes in his space. And I never find, for dogs like him in particular, I don't find putting them in their crate is helpful for that,
Yeah.
because I feel that's very confining for them. That must be worse, because now they're like, oh God, I'm a sitting duck,
And
and
he would find that really frustrating as well, because he wants to be involved in what's going on,
Mhm.
but he wants it to be like on his terms and everybody to like follow his rules.
He does.
So, if he was put away from the situation into a crate or whatever, he would find that really frustrating. That would make him really angry.
Yeah. So he would be. So I find for these dogs, putting them behind a baby gate is a bit better, in a
Mhm.
room where not necessarily everyone's completely passing. So in fact, actually, he's a good description of the more complicated, nah, I don't want anything to do with you, because effectively he's like, I don't want anything to do with you, but I'm very nosy and I want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Um, so he has that weird conflict within him. There's some dogs that are so stressed by it all that are just like, nothing. I just want nothing to do with nothing. Leave me in a quiet room.
Mhm.
I can hear you, but I don't really care.
Yeah.
But I think for both types of dogs, having the baby gate just means they've got a whole room that they can back out onto, and
Yeah.
they can either stay really far back, or Blue would be standing at the front like, what's going on there?
Yeah. See, that's the thing. So Blue wants to be the center of attention, but also at the same time wants no one to even look at him. Like,
He's a nightmare. He's just a nightmare, isn't he?
look at me, look at me, look at me. Did you just look at me? Don't look at me.
He's, he really is, actually. Yeah, he's the worst mix of both of those, actually.
Yeah. I think for your wee anxious dogs, giving them somewhere that they can just go away and chill and,
Mm.
you know,
And that help. And you can do things like, to help boost their confidence as these guests come in. If they're going past the baby gate, have some tasty treats at the door for
yeah,
them. Pick up a couple and throw it in,
yeah,
but just keep walking and leave.
mhm,
Don't try and, it's not a petting zoo. We're not going to feed through the bars. We're just chucking and leaving.
mhm,
What then happens for those dogs? They start to go, oh, hang on, these people are a bit different. They bring me gifts, but then they leave. This is quite good.
mhm,
And that's better for them. But when you have the sociable dogs, that's a bit trickier, because the problem with them is they're usually just too full on, and they're jumping over people, they're barking, they're just, they're going to knock over your great auntie that's coming, or, your little nephew that's only 2 is just going to face plant the second the dog gets up to them.
mhm,
So I think with those dogs, I find crates aren't as bad. They seem to be like, they tend to get frustrated rather than, oh my God, I'm a sitting duck. They tend just to be
yeah,
like, let me out. But we could use crates, but I would always say put your crate away from like the footfall area, so it's
mhm,
not, they're not constantly having people going past. Or use your baby gate, put them in another room, just so we can get people in. Just get people in, get them seated, everything's fine. And I find with those dogs, get them out and saying hello quicker,
mhm,
because that's all they want. They just want to come and say hello, get petted, be like, woo. So I would personally be having crate, baby gate, wherever, with some chews to try and like chill them,
yeah,
get people in. But then I'm going to bring the dog out on lead, so that I can kind of contain the chaos a
mhm,
little bit more, let them say their hellos, but then I'll be like, look, we've got your special chew, or your special like puzzle toy, whatever you floats your dog's boat, and be like, lie on your bed, and I'm going to give you that, but I've got the lead to tether, so that they're not just going to suddenly get up and jump on somebody as they have their cup of tea,
yeah,
or something like that. And
yeah,
that's kind of how I get through it. But also, before any of that happens, I would be making sure they've had a suitable walk.
mhm,
And I would be making sure that the walk's been satisfying and kind of keeping them calm. So I'll have taken them a walk where there'll be lots of sniffing,
yeah,
maybe little bits of training,
mhm,
so that when they're coming in, they're already a bit tired. Because to be fair, the minute anyone's coming, they're going to wake right back up again and get all giddy. But because they were already edging towards tired, they're much more likely to settle. I think if you try and take the dog out, so I'm talking about, I would want to get back home within, I don't know, less than half an hour of folk coming. So my dog is kind of settled. I wouldn't want to walk them 3-4 hours before the people come,
Yeah.
because it's not going to have the effect that I wanted it to have. I mean, obviously, if you want to take them out, like 2 sets, that's fine, but don't take them out 3 or 4 hours beforehand thinking they'll still be tired, because they won't.
Yeah.
But then you've got to look at, try not to sound like high and mighty about it. Where's your training? Where's the training happening? Like, why haven't we taught our dogs to go settle on a mat when visitors come? Why haven't we worked on the not jumping up? But at this stage in the game, it's too late to do that training. This is a next year problem. Well, it's not. You're going to have visitors throughout the year, but you'd then be looking at, oh, hang on, maybe I should actually work on my training and stuff like that. But I think that's the ways to thingy. But then also, I was just thinking there, what's the other horrendous things around Christmas? But it's fireworks, isn't it? It's fucking fireworks.
Yeah.
They'll start
like
again.
New Year. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit rubbishy.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to then remember everything that you did in November. So if your dog needed meds, get your meds now.
Yeah.
If you were using the drums that we were talking about, start playing those drums again, pairing it with nice things.
Yeah. We've done a whole episode on it, so you can go back and check out our
exactly. You're just going to have to do all of those things. And then I suppose thinking of that, if you're hosting for New Year, you're still looking at all the things we just spoke about, knowing your vet's details properly, knowing the signs. Then you've got same with the visitors, but sounds stressful, eh?
It does, aye.
Aye.
It does.
I'm glad I don't do that. Nobody comes to my house. I've got 7 dogs and a couple of cats. Like,
you've
nobody's
got
coming.
Very festive nails for someone who doesn't do Christmas.
Did you spy them?
I keep seeing flashes of them. It's funny because, like, all the things you love, like, you love food, you love presents. Like, I just don't understand why.
I worked in retail, is why.
I know, but you should be over it by now.
Not really. It scars you quite deep. People are so rude to you when you work in retail at Christmas time. Like, anyone listening that works in retail, you guys will all be going, oh, you have no idea. No idea how people are just so horrible. And then the constant, hearing the Christmas songs from like October. Like, I honestly, I can't deal with, there's only about 12 songs that get played on loop, and it's like some form of torture now. I just can't deal.
Christmas is my favourite musical genre, though. I can't wait to get my Christmas playlist on every year. It's my favourite.
You probably have a slightly different playlist than what they play in the shops, though. So, So no, but you're right. If there's elements of Christmas that are so up my street, that I love. It's just been killed by ungrateful people when I worked in retail.
I'll get you one of these sweaters for next year. So I've been wearing it like for the last week or so, just to like gaslight myself into thinking I'm having a nice time at work.
It's true. It's true. It's stressful. I don't mind. Like, I don't mind helping out people, and I know people get stressed at Christmas because they're trying to get everyone organised.
Yeah.
But just remember your manners, for God's sake. It's not our fault that you were disorganised. Like, please don't take it out on me because it's got too stressful for you. Like, I'm just trying to make ssure, like, in your case, you're just trying to make sure people's dogs look beautiful for the guests coming in, the Christmas photos and all of this sort of thing. And you're just trying to do that. It's not your fault that they never phoned you in time. Like, it's just so. But nowadays, I don't quite have to deal with that. But no, it's so ingrained in me now that I'm just like, nah. So on that cheery note, we'll just forget about Christmas now.
Yeah.
we've got New Year to look forward to. And then we'll, yeah, in the new year we'll be back in Bertha again.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Right. Have a good Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Love you. Bye.
Bye for now.